Morning always carries a gentle kind of light that only those who slow down can truly feel. Good morning, my dear friend. I am grateful that you chose to spend the first moments of your day sitting with yourself, not to chase a list of tasks, not to brace for a long day, but to listen to the quiet life of your inner thoughts. Each of us holds an inner world that no one else can see, a steady stream of thoughts that keeps moving even when we are still lying in bed with our eyes barely open. And that quiet inner world is what shapes the way we walk through the day, the way we respond to what happens, the way we feel about ourselves. Yet most of us grow up without ever being taught how to care for our mind. We know how to take care of the body, how to choose nourishing food, how to exercise to feel stronger, but very few are taught how to nurture a gentle thought. Morning then becomes the beginning of a chain of unconscious reactions. We wake up and are immediately pulled by pieces of worry left from yesterday or by the uncertainty of what the new day may bring. And sometimes we forget that one small thought can shift the direction of our emotions for the entire day. Today I invite you into a soft journey, one that asks for no effort, no pushing, no need to be stronger, only your full presence in this moment. We will look at the morning mind the way we look at a still surface of water. Whatever you drop into it first will form the ripples that guide your day. If you drop fear, worry will color everything you do. If you drop judgment, the mind will begin to close. But if you drop a beautiful thought, a gentle intention, a reminder that you deserve peace, your day will soften in a different way. And the tender truth is that you are the one who gets to choose the first ripple. So welcome to this quiet morning space, where you begin your day with awareness instead of reaction, with intention instead of being carried away, with peace instead of pressure. This is your time, a moment set apart so you can prepare your inner world before the outer world begins to ask for your attention. We will walk together one small step at a time until your mind becomes a place you return to with comfort, not a place you feel the need to escape. Take a slow moment just for yourself. Breathe in gently as if you are inviting the morning light to enter within. Breathe out slowly as if you are placing down everything heavy that your mind carried from yesterday. Do it once more, then once again. You do not need to force relaxation, you only need to allow yourself to breathe with full presence. As your breath softens, your mind begins to soften with it. Suddenly, the fast-moving thoughts start to slow down, as if someone quietly turned down the volume inside your head. And in this gentle pause, you are able to notice something you usually overlook: the thoughts running on their own without you ever questioning them. Morning is when the mind is most easily swept away. One small thought can lead you into a whole stream of emotion. A passing image, a sentence left unfinished from yesterday, a plan you are unsure how to begin. Any of these can become seeds of worry if you are not aware enough to see them. But as you sit here and take a slow breath, everything starts to look clearer. You begin to see that not all thoughts carry the same weight. Some thoughts are simply remnants of old habits. Some are natural reactions from fear. Some do not even belong to you yet. You have let them stay for far too long. So in this moment, with your breath guiding your mind, I want to ask you a gentle question that many people go through life without ever asking. This morning, what is appearing inside your mind? A sense of expectation or a hint of worry, a small belief or a voice of self-judgment? And more importantly, do these thoughts reflect the person you want to be today? Often we do not pause long enough to see what we are thinking, so we let old patterns drive our life in old directions. But you are here in this calm moment, which means something has already changed. You are choosing to look inward. You are choosing to step out of unconscious cycles. You are choosing to begin the day with awareness instead of automatic reaction. And that choice is more powerful than you may realize. You can stay with your gentle breath a little longer. Let each breath remind you that you can slow things down whenever you wish. You can look at your thoughts as an observer rather than someone being pulled around. You can choose which thoughts are allowed to stay and which ones need to leave. Before we move to the next part, I want to ask you one more sincere question. This morning, is there a thought that is pulling your energy down? And if there is, are you willing to place it down right now? Thank you for being here, for giving yourself the chance to begin again from within. The morning of an adult rarely begins with an alarm. It begins with a stream of thoughts pouring in like water released from a lock. Some people open their eyes and instantly remember unfinished work, some think about the responsibilities waiting ahead, some carry a vague feeling from a conversation left open the day before. And there are mornings when we wake up to a strange kind of quiet where the mind is not noisy yet, not truly at ease. What is interesting is that these things happen so naturally that we start to believe they are simply a normal part of morning life. In truth, they are only habits of the mind. The mind always wakes up before the body, and it often runs faster than the pace you actually want to live. You may be standing in the bathroom washing your face, yet your mind is already in the afternoon meeting. You may be making a cup of coffee, yet your mind is revisiting a conversation that troubled you yesterday. You may be about to leave the house, yet your mind is imagining scenarios that have not even happened. This is why many people feel tired the moment they wake up, even when nothing serious has happened. It is not the body that is tired. It is the mind carrying a quiet weight. In adult life, this happens to almost all of us. But we rarely pause to ask a very important question: why do we let the mind lead us every morning? If you observe closely, you will see that many morning thoughts are not actually problems of today. They are echoes of yesterday, of last week, sometimes even of years gone by. A sentence that bothered you, a look that made you feel small, a decision you are unsure about, all of these can follow you into the next morning like uninvited guests. And without noticing, you start a new day using your present energy to process old stories. There are also mornings when the mind runs too far ahead. It imagines the worst possible outcome and pulls you into worries that are not real. One single thought can make you believe an entire day will be difficult even though nothing has actually happened. Morning is therefore the most vulnerable time. The mind is like soil freshly turned. Anything dropped into it can take root easily. Plant a little worry and your day feels tight. Plant a bit of self-blame and your heart feels smaller. But because of this, morning is also the most beautiful time to begin again. When you realize you can observe your thoughts instead of being carried away by them, you reclaim your sense of direction. Look at your morning today. Is there something that feels heavy? Is there a thought that makes you feel like you are stepping into the day with a spiritual backpack heavier than it needs to be? The wonderful thing is that you do not need to solve everything. You only need to notice what you are carrying. And often that alone is enough for the mind to feel lighter. Because when you see a thought clearly, it no longer controls you. You can choose how you want to enter the new day without letting old thoughts shape your present emotions. And that small moment of awareness is already a meaningful change. There is a gentle truth that can change your entire morning. Once you understand it, you do not have to be a victim of your thoughts. From childhood to adulthood, many of us grow up believing that when a thought appears, we must endure it, follow it, let it lead us. But the truth is, you have the right to choose which thoughts are allowed to stay in your mind. The morning mind is like a still surface of water. Whatever you drop into it first creates the first ripple, and that ripple spreads into emotion, into action, into the way you walk through the day. If you drop worry, you will feel hesitant in even the smallest tasks. If you drop self-blame, you will feel less confident as the day goes on. But if you drop a thought that is gentle and true, you will feel your mind open, brighten, and soften toward life. So right now, I want to place into your mind a tender idea today. You do not need to be perfect. You only need enough peace to take each step with awareness. You do not have to fix everything at once. You do not have to know every answer. You do not have to do anything better than someone else. You only need to choose a thought that helps you feel lighter instead of one that makes you shrink. Maybe you have repeated heavy sentences in your mind for years simply because no one taught you how to pause them. But this morning can be a new beginning. You can choose a simple line like "I deserve peace," or "I allow myself to begin again," or "I am doing the best I can." When you plant a gentle thought in the morning, you create good soil for your entire day. You do not need to force positivity or pressure yourself. One kind thought for yourself is enough to shift the direction of your mind. And what matters most is your awareness of what you are planting. The mind multiplies whatever you repeat. If you repeat worry, it will search for more reasons to worry. If you repeat peace, it will look for moments that help you feel calm. You are the one who plants the seed, not the circumstance, not fear, not the people who once hurt you. You are the one who decides the first ripple on the surface of your mind. So I want to invite you to do something small yet powerful. Write the sentence, "I am ready to change." Not to prove anything, but to send a signal to your own mind that you are stepping into a new page. This sentence is not a big promise. It is simply a quiet agreement with yourself that old thoughts will no longer decide the feelings of today. And if you do not want to write it, just repeat it softly inside your heart once. The energy of readiness always begins very small, yet it is enough to open a new path in the mind. This morning, let a beautiful thought be the gift you offer to yourself. There is a simple rule that quietly shapes the entire inner life of every adult. The mind will follow whatever you repeat. It sounds gentle, yet if you observe long enough, you will see it holds true in almost every situation. A thought repeated each day slowly becomes a habit. A habit repeated long enough becomes a pattern. And that pattern over time becomes the way you see the world, the way you see others, and the way you see yourself. The important thing is that most of what we repeat in our mind is not something we consciously choose. It is simply something we are used to letting appear and automatically believing. For example, if you often tell yourself that you must do better, you will constantly feel uneasy because you fear you are not enough. If you are used to thinking that everything will be difficult, the new day will feel like a steep hill you are tired of before even taking a step. On the other hand, if you repeat something soft like "I can take things one step at a time," the mind will begin to look for ways to make that sentence true. The mind follows this rule quietly but faithfully. It does not know whether what you repeat is true or false. It only knows that whatever is repeated most often becomes the priority in how it interprets the world. This is why two people in the same situation can feel completely different. It is not the situation that creates the experience, it is the repeated thought within. When you understand this, you begin to see that you have more influence over your inner world than you once believed. You cannot stop every thought from appearing, but you can choose which thoughts are allowed to stay. You cannot avoid every situation that triggers worry, but you can change the thinking habits that allow the worry to grow. You cannot control what someone else says, but you can decide which sentences you let echo inside you. This rule is gentle and practical, and it does not ask you to become someone else. It simply invites you to notice yourself with awareness. The moment you look at what you are repeating this morning, you have already begun shifting the direction of your mind. Look at your morning thinking habits. Is there a sentence you tend to repeat without noticing? Maybe it is, "I must try harder," or "I'm afraid I am not enough," or a short line like "Today will be exhausting." And maybe you do not intend it, but those sentences have become signals leading your mind in an unhelpful direction. The beautiful thing is you do not need to change everything at once. You only need to change what you repeat. One gentle sentence is enough to set the foundation for your morning. A sentence like "Today I choose peace," or "I have the right to move slowly," or "I do not need to be perfect to be loved." The mind will register whatever you repeat, and from there it adjusts the way it sees things. When you understand this rule, you no longer feel pulled around by random thoughts. You begin to feel that you have the steering wheel. You have the ability to shift direction. You have the right to choose what is good for you. And morning is the perfect time to practice this because the mind has not yet been filled with too much noise. Whatever you plant first, the mind will follow. Morning is the time when the mind is most sensitive, and it is also when you can redirect your entire day with one very small action. Not something grand, not a big goal, just a simple gesture that is powerful enough to shift the flow of your thoughts. Today I want to invite you to practice a small action as a personal ritual. Whenever a heavy thought appears, pause for just 1 second and ask, is this thought truly good for me? Let that question be a gentle stop, as if you are placing a hand on your own shoulder and reminding yourself to slow down. You do not need to analyze where the thought comes from. You do not need to explain why it appears. You do not need to force yourself to fix it or push it away. You ask only one question: is this truly good for me? If the answer is yes, keep it with you like a companion. If the answer is no, take a slow breath out and let the thought pass like a cloud drifting across the sky. That 1 second is your freedom. That 1 second is the moment you reclaim a sense of direction you once believed you did not have. That 1 second is the line between living unconsciously and living with awareness. Many people think that changing the mind requires big leaps, but in truth, the mind transforms most deeply through small acts repeated consistently. 1 second to pause. One question. One breath. These small things may feel so gentle that you doubt they make a difference, yet they are quietly rebuilding the structure of your inner life. Look at yourself right now. This morning, is there a thought pulling you downward? Is there a feeling that makes you enter the day with a sense of shrinking rather than opening? If there is, you can practice this in this very moment. Name the thought softly in your heart. Then ask, is this truly good for me? Sometimes you will be surprised to realize that most thoughts weighing you down carry no real value. They are simply habits. And once you see that their weight begins to dissolve, the beautiful thing about this practice is that you can do it anywhere in any situation. While making coffee, while driving, while waiting for a message, even in the middle of a stressful day. With just 1 second and one gentle question, you can guide your mind back to clarity and softness. Before we move on, I want to ask you something sincere. Has a small thought ever made your whole day feel heavy? If the answer is yes, you are not alone. And thank you for being here, for taking time to care for the part of you that no one sees yet influences everything you do. This morning, as your mind begins to soften and your breath finds its steady rhythm, I want to invite you into a quiet and intimate moment. A small inner space where you can set down everything moving inside you and open your heart for peace to gently fill the corners of your mind. Sit still for a few breaths and let this prayer touch you like warm water flowing through you. Lord of peace and clarity, I place my mind before you this morning. You see every thought that passes through, every feeling I do not speak, every worry I hide behind a smile. You know, there are moments when my mind runs faster than my heart, making it hard for me to feel the quiet within. So in this moment, please touch every part of my mind, touch the thoughts I have held for too long, the memories I do not yet know how to release, the worries I thought I must carry alone. Please give me the courage to look at the thoughts that no longer belong to who I am becoming and gently set them down. Help me see what comes from truth and what is only an echo of old fear. Shine your light so I may know when I am judging myself too harshly, when I am chasing things that are not truly important, when I need to pause, breathe, and return to myself. Lord, place in my mind a peace wide enough to cover my whole day, a clarity that helps me recognize a good thought from a harmful one, a softness that allows me to respond with intention rather than react quickly. I offer to you the thinking habits I have carried for years, the patterns that have worn me down, the cycles that make me forget how much I have grown. Renew them slowly and gently. Help me see each situation through the lens of truth instead of the lens of anxiety. Give me a mind that chooses peace over tension, kindness over self-blame, and slow steps over being swept away. This morning, I hand over to you the things I cannot manage on my own. Guard my mind from the confusion of the world outside. Guard my heart from unnecessary comparisons. Guard my breath so it stays light and steady, and when I feel unbalanced, remind me that peace is not found out there, but in the way I speak to myself. Lord, stay with me in every small thought. Cover my mind with your quiet peace. Help me remember that each new day is a blank page where I can choose what to write. Thank you for your presence that never leaves me, even when there is still noise within me. Let me enter this day with a clear mind, a soft heart, and a faith that I can live slow, live, true, and live in peace with you. Amen. Men. Morning is the time when we can see ourselves with the most honesty. Not the heavy kind of self-judging, not the overthinking kind, but a gentle looking inward, the way you might observe a dear friend who is simply trying to do their best. When your mind has softened and your heart has opened a little more, this becomes the moment where you can speak to yourself with the tenderness you sometimes forget to give. Think about the past years, the times you pushed yourself just to meet expectations, the mornings you woke up feeling you had to try harder, the moments you wondered whether you were doing enough. Even those thoughts came from a very human place in you, a place that wants to do well, wants no one to be disappointed, wants everything to stay in order. But over time, those expectations can turn into a quiet weight you do not notice you are carrying. And that is why a morning like this is a chance to look inward and ask, am I treating my mind with kindness? There are thinking patterns that have followed you for many years, so long that you believe they are part of your personality. Sentences like, I have to be stronger, I cannot make mistakes, I should not show my tiredness, I must know how to handle everything, or I must take care of it all on my own. They may sound harmless, but when repeated for too long, they keep your mind in a constant state of strain. You are not wrong for believing these thoughts in the past. They helped you survive, helped you get through hard seasons. But this morning you can gently ask yourself, do I still need to carry them? An adult has the right to change, the right to step out of old thoughts, the right to see themselves with softer eyes. You do not need to prove anything. You only need to learn to be kinder to yourself. Look at where you are now. You have come a long way. You have made it through days you once thought impossible. You have stood back up after things that weighed on your heart. And more importantly, you are still choosing to grow with kindness. Seeing yourself with gentleness means you no longer treat your mind as something that must be perfect, but as a companion that is learning along the way. You can say to yourself, I have done my best with what I have. I am learning to be softer. I am opening a new path for my mind. And you can repeat this every morning as a quiet comfort for the past versions of you who carried too much. Before we move into the final part, I want to invite you to do something small, yet meaningful. Leave the number 1. Not to prove anything, but to mark that today you have looked inward with gentleness, that you have taken another step in healing and growing. And if you prefer to say it silently in your heart, that is more than enough. This morning belongs to you, and your change begins in moments as small and tender as this. The morning is opening before you like a blank page waiting for its first gentle line. And you, with everything you have just walked through in this quiet space, are standing at the beginning of a new day. The most beautiful thing about morning is not the sunrise or the fresh air, but the simple truth that you are allowed to begin again no matter what happened yesterday. You do not have to carry old heaviness into today. You do not have to repeat the thoughts that once drained your peace. You do not have to continue the patterns that have taken your calm for so many years. Morning is the chance to lay down what no longer fits and step lightly into the new day with a clearer mind. Today you can choose to move slowly. You can choose to see things with softness instead of pressure. You can choose to be kind to yourself before trying to be kind to anyone else. You can also choose to believe that the gentle thoughts you planted this morning will continue to bloom in your actions. And even if the day brings something unexpected, you can always return to the breath, return to the quiet question, return to the awareness you have built through each part of this journey. Because peace is not something the world gives you. Peace is something you practice each morning through the smallest things. This morning, I wish you an inner light as soft as the early sun, a heart tender enough to receive good things, and a mind steady enough not to be swept away by unnecessary noise. May you walk through today with intention rather than reaction, within a stillness rather than outside hurry. May each step you take be guided by clarity, and may the words you speak to yourself be gentler than anything the world may say. And if at any point in the day you feel unsteady, remember that one slow breath is enough to bring you back to yourself. Before we close, I want to offer you a quiet invitation. If these morning moments have lightened your mind and you want each day to begin with a peaceful space like this, you are welcome to stay here with me. Each morning we will nurture the mind together, plant one beautiful thought practice, one small action, and give ourselves the calm that adult life so often steals from us. Nothing more is required. Your presence is enough. May you step into this day with a bright and gentle energy. May you choose what nourishes you rather than what makes you shrink. And may you always remember that you deserve the peace you are walking toward. A soft and beautiful day is waiting ahead of you.